Hello and good afternoon, Xbox Nation. Welcome to this week's new episode, of course, of X Vlog Live. I am your host, or at least one of your hosts, Mr. BoomStick XL. My co-host with the co-host is back in a big way. C Money, destroying the narratives left, right, and center. I think we're going to do that today in the opening topic because we're going to be getting into Game Pass. And folks, look, I said this literally to C Money seconds ago. Even if you are loaded, like you have money in stacks, I don't know how you're not subscribed to Xbox Game Pass, and they just keep delivering. We got a great story from Xbox Wire we're going to get into. But C Money, how you feeling, brother? Welcome back.
Feeling good, man. Feeling good. Very, very excited for what we have going on today. I'm excited for gaming, man. We've been having such good stuff dropping, man. We um right now, actually 12 o'clock right now, the embargo's lifted for Dying Light, the Beast, man.
Nice, dude.
Had the game. Review's gonna go up. I'm gonna let the first wave of people put out their stuff, and then
Yeah,
we'll upload
that's
it
what I
in a little
usually do.
while.
I let all the bigs go, and then I
Yeah,
go
all the
after them.
bigs are gonna go anyway,
Yeah.
so give it a little while, but our review will be up, and yeah, bro, like gaming is crazy right now. Like
Yeah.
when you take what Xbox is doing, providing like this baseline of greatness, and then on top of that is just like the extra sauce of what other devs are doing, and that they're bringing the good stuff. It's just all extra, man. It's so fun, man. It's so beautiful. So very, very excited for gaming right now. But glad to be on the show, man. Excited.
Well, appreciate you being here. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you to everyone that's in the chat. If you are still, you're finding the channel for the first time, I would like to ask that you consider subscribing. All of the long-time subscribers, in front of you is going to be a hype button. And if you are someone that cares about our growth, and I hope that you do, please hit that hype button. And hype the channel up. Let people know about Double Barrel Gaming. It's your way of simply just pressing a button to share with others. This is a new program through YouTube. How successful it's going to be really depends on, well, you, ladies and gentlemen. If you are enjoying the content and you want to see us succeed, again, listen, everyone is struggling right now with the numbers. And I
It's
normally don't
crazy.
ever talk about it. They're just, C Money is going to throw his 2 cents in. It's been
Yeah,
bad.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, tell the people what's going on, because again, it's frustrating. It's a bit frustrating.
Yeah, I feel like YouTube is now with this hype thing that they're doing, is try to focus the movement of your content, like the spread of it based off of this. But
Yeah,
like when you see it, like even when it's done, like even if everybody in the chat did it right now, even if everybody who subscribed to you did it, I looked at it, and to get into like the top 100, right?
it's
It's like 300,000
yeah,
points. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? It's impossible, bro. Like it's crazy what they're doing. And it's across the board. Like this stuff is like the content is just not circulating. I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know what I mean, they backtracked other things. I don't know if they're going to you know, I don't know what they're gonna do
Yeah.
because people who were moderately big are seeing numbers that are like, why? I did all that work to get up here and now I'm down here. People who are okay are like, well, now I'm like down here. It's like, what's going on? And then people who are like down there, are like, what the F? Why am I even doing this? You know what I'm saying? Like, like it's crazy what's happening. Um, and so, yeah, anything that you guys can do to help spread it out, share
Yep.
it on social media. It's like before it was what it was, but now, like if you if you care about the work that goes into this and the content that's being provided to you and stuff like that, definitely show up for your favorite, content creators and put those likes, leave comments, engage with the like
Yeah.
aside from just the hype, right? Like engaging with the content. Like even if you're live in here, right? You're live here now, cool. When the show finishes, drop a comment. Hey, great show today, something like that.
Yeah.
Just to
It
kind of
helps. All of that helps,
it
man. It's
does. It
engagement.
does.
Yeah.
like at this point, it's just about any little thing that you could do. Because like you, Boom, I never ever talk about like, hey, do this and that. But even me, at the end of these shows, I got to be like, hey, if you had a good time, make sure you share it out, you do something because YouTube is being crazy right now, you know. So
Yeah, it's again, it's you like C Money just said, and you find folks have been following me for a while. I normally don't talk about the business of YouTube. I just talk about video games. It's honestly what I love doing, and I can do it 7 days a week. I choose to do it 5 because I do need a little bit of a unplugging break. The weekend is for me and Mrs. Boom, and occasionally, like last Saturday, she'll hear me talk about something. She goes, I think you should go live," and I go and I do it for 45 minutes because of obviously the breaking news on Saturday, thanks to Destin Legary, about the pricing of the Xbox Ally X and S. But yeah, I mean, look, so Elijah Vasquez in the chat says, Boom, the views thing is due to YouTube stop counting users with ad block on desktops as views. Yeah, I did actually see that.
is that what it
And
is?
yeah, that's apparently a thing.
Yeah,
Look,
but they're still consuming the content, right? So like that's a YouTube problem, not a us problem,
yeah,
right? Like that's
yeah,
crazy.
I
They're still
agree.
coming. They're still there. So
A
something
view
has to
is a
get
view is
figured
a
out.
view. Just like,
Yeah.
and this is going to sound crazy. Like, I know people are going to be like, Boom, how, don't tell people to do that. You ever hear me say, folks, hit the like button if you didn't hit the thumbs down button? I'm being serious. Like, if you did not like the podcast, hit the thumbs down button. Are you being a troll when you do that? No, you didn't like the content. Shame on me as a host. But that's engagement. It's not the greatest of engagement for sure, but it's engagement nonetheless. So when I hear that, and Elijah, thanks so much for the info, brother. It's actually not. It's actually I've heard it quite a bit. People have reached out to me, say, "Boom, this is what it is."
I had no
A view is a
idea.
view is a view.
That's crazy.
So I think it's weird. But look, that's not what you guys and gals are here for. All I will say is,
No.
if you're on the cell phone, on your mobile phone, and you see the hype button, please hit it. If the hype button is available, I think it is here on the wherever you're watching. Consider hitting it. Again, it's simply just pressing the button. The
By
more
the way,
people that
Boom,
press,
it's only 3 times a week they can hit the like button.
yes, 3
So
times.
you have
Yes.
5 shows a week. So you can't even get the hype button pressed on all your
Listen, you
shows.
know what? Someone may not.
That's
Someone
so
maybe
messed up,
appreciate
though.
the olives and mustard show that we're going to do today more so
Maybe,
than the
maybe,
Breakfast at Boom show. So I mean,
maybe.
there it is. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, I want to get into. Look, we've talked about Xbox Game Pass before on this channel. This is not a foreign topic. It's a topic that still has me scratching my head sometimes because there are some folks, and you know how I feel about this. We don't really do the names thing here, only when it's super necessary, that are 10 toes down in Game Pass being bad for the industry, Game Pass not providing enough content, which of course is a lie. I mean, those are two pieces of lies that you should not pay attention to. Well, the reason why I wanted to bring it up is an article that came the way of Xbox.com. And folks, I'm sitting in front of, I have a picture in front of me that has a ridiculous amount of games. Now, to be fair, not every game here is going to be for everybody, and there are no games that are going to break the internet. But there are games that are going to be here that you're going to play that you didn't know you wanted to play. For instance, I'm just going to read the list, folks. So, Vision of Mana is a game, an RPG that's phenomenal. A lot of people loved it. I played it. I played a little bit of it. Very much enjoyed it. That's back, right? Hades, of course, Hades 2 right now, and
Is that back or is that the other one?
No, this
So there
is
was Trials of Mana that was on Game Pass. I think Visions of Mana wasn't on Game Pass, and now it
oh,
is. Is that
maybe
what
you
it
know
is?
what? You might be onto some. So
Yeah, I
maybe
think
Visions of Mana is.
Trials.
Oh,
Yeah, they
okay,
did if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but I think the other ones that they did were on Game Pass, but like that was the brand new one, and they didn't put that one on Game Pass,
okay.
if I'm not mistaken. So
You know what
now
you
it's
might
on Game Pass.
yeah, you know what you might be onto something. But listen, Vision of Mana's, I know that it's there confirmed. Hades is also have been confirmed that was that's a big game for a lot of people. And why are they putting it back in there? Because Hades 2 is currently and for a while is going to be a console exclusive for the Switch 2 of all places, right? Deep Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. Now I am playing that. I love Survivor games. Obviously, look what's on the screen, folks. I have other ones I have to show you, but I like it. I don't love it just yet. And I didn't play the original Deep Rock Galactic. I didn't play the original one. This is like, well, it's like the original, except it's like a Survivor game, and it's pretty cool. I've only gotten to the 3rd level so far. I am enjoying it. I'm just not in love with it just yet. Now, they have another game called Sopa. Now I don't know if that is Spanish for soup or what it is, but it's again it's a new game. Something called Sworn is also in there. Endless Legend 2, which of course is in there. Frostpunk 2 is coming. Now this one may break the world. Peppa Pig World Adventure, ladies and gentlemen. Go in, get that 1,000 points, and check out Peppa Pig.
My kids loved it.
Don't be ashamed. I played with Tyler, and I actually, I'm not gonna lie.
It looks like the cartoon. You know what I'm saying?
So I can appreciate
I
had fun
the quality
with
it.
of it. They have this other thing now. This looks very kid-like. It's called Wobble Life, and looks interesting.
My daughter loved that one.
Okay, see? There you go.
Well, I can't deny her. She wanted it, but she loves it. All these games, they're fun games for these. I'm not gonna disparage any grown-up who wants to play it, but specifically for kids, they're just great fun for kids that they have so much imagination that they sit there and they use these games as like sandboxes to make up their own games while they're playing, so they'll play tag or make up whole things that are going on, but they like that one. So Bobby Life is actually pretty good.
That's good. And then you have the 3 3/4 view, the Lara Croft game, which I very much enjoyed. There were 2 of them. This is the original. Modern Warfare 3 is finally back at in Xbox Game Pass. That was again for a game that was destroyed by the reviews. And look, let's call a spade. It did seem like it was a game that was supposed to be a DLC, and they kind of extended it into a full purchase. Now
that game didn't come out. That's just going to standard, right?
That's standard. That's
it's going to a different tier.
Yeah, the Modern Warfare 3 is currently there, but these next 3 games are in for standard Xbox Game Pass, not Game Pass Ultimate. For the King 2 and Overthrown. So I mean, look, folks, these are a lot of games releasing this month. Again, we still have a little bit less than half of September left, but what's interesting about this topic, C Money, is the fact that we still have 3.5 months left of the year, and in those 3 months, Xbox Game Pass is going to get overloaded with a couple of really bigs. And I mean, look, folks, there's not a lot of news right now. So whatever we can get our hands on, we're going to talk about. And I think that talking about Xbox Game Pass being where it is and what it has done for in 2025, I always wanted to have this conversation, but never really found the right footing to have it, see money. But, since 2017, Xbox Game Pass has been cutting down one narrative after another, whether it be it's filler or slop that's being added to it. It's somehow not worth the price of admission. We've heard a couple of pretty big prominent people come out and say that it is an industry destroying service. That somehow or another the industry is going to fall apart. Obviously, that hasn't happened because it's been around for 8 years so far. 2017, the summer of, and every year it does seem to get better. And what's interesting is it's running parallel to Xbox Game Studios. Like, they are in a position right now where, and we've heard this now, when this was said in 2021, Matt Booty was panned for it, right? He said that we have so many games lined up, we don't know where to put them. Unfortunately, there was a year where they had everything delayed and there were practically no first party games, and it was a really bad year for Xbox. I believe that was 2022. Um, and look, this year alone, see money, and this is where the conversation is going to go. Has been a year of dominance for Xbox Game Pass, and we still have um a couple of really big ones. You have Call of Duty Black Ops 7 towards the end of sort of middle of November. You have The Outer Worlds 2 in October. You have in October as well the Lighthouse game from
Keeper.
Double Fine. Yes, Keeper. And actually, it's funny, I should even mention Keeper. They just put out a video
Yep. I saw it.
talking about it. It's about 31 minutes. If you are a fan of Tim Schafer and Double Fine, I just finished watching it. It's brilliant. I got news for you folks. I think people are gonna fall in love with this game. This seems incredibly special.
It's beautiful.
It's gorgeous, bro.
Like that's the shit that gets me. Like when people talk about gaming and like when I say that I love good graphics, I'm not talking. It doesn't have to be photorealistic. Like it's not about real life graphics only. The art style, everything, the quality of the assets, the quality of the atmosphere that they create. It's intense. It's so
the music
beautiful.
is
It's really
stunning.
beautiful.
Yeah,
it really is.
So
kudos to Xbox.
Yeah, absolutely. Kudos for Xbox for allowing the artistic views and imagination of Tim Schafer and his studio to continue to actually put out games. Because, again, is this going to be a game that flies off of the shelf, so to speak? I don't know. I am going to say that if you are interested in finding more about this game, then you should watch the new video that dropped today. It's 31 minutes. It's worth your time. I watched it. I very much enjoyed it. I took a lot away from it. It has now become a very much anticipated game for me because it looks like a game that you can just sit down, chill, and enjoy. Right? It's going to tell a story, and the best compliment that I can give, and what I have given Tim Schafer and Double Fine in the past, and this one even hits it closer to the mark even better, is that it feels very Tim Burton-like. And I really think that if you are a fan of what Tim Burton has done in animation, and I am, you will appreciate this because there are I mean, again, I don't want to spoil anything. Go watch the video. And in fact, I'm going to link it in the show notes. So after the show, please go check it out. It's 31 minutes. And you know something? If you had any questions as what is this Keeper? It's just a walking lighthouse? This explains everything. And getting back on course this is another game that's going to be inside of Xbox Game Pass. And for your $20 a month, you're going to be able to play this along with all of the games that are coming this month that I mentioned earlier. Now, granted, to be completely fair, are any of those games going to melt the universe? Maybe not for everyone, but there's going to be somebody that's going to be like, oh, I really wanted that Mana game, or I really wanted Deep Rock Galactic, Survivors, because I played the first person, game all those years ago, and this sounds dope. I like Vampire Survivors. I'm going to give it a shot. If you like both of those games, you're probably going to like this. Now, again, for me personally, it hasn't hooked me like what you see on your screen, right? Or like Achilles Survivor, for instance. And you've heard me talk about this before. That's not in Game Pass. Neither is this. But these are $15 games. And the greatest thing about Game Pass is I have extra money to buy these games. Let's get your thoughts on this, C Money.
I mean, look, that's the thing, right? So you have a lot of choice, right? Because you are buying these other games and you're comparing them, and you're like, all right, I don't like this one as much. But somebody who doesn't go ahead and buy this game at $15, buy the other ones that you have talking about at $15, because maybe they don't want to spend the extra money. Maybe Deep Rock Galactic to them is gonna just hit in a crazy way because they're not comparing it to some of these other games that are out there. I mean, the thing about Game Pass for me and why I love it, first of all, like, to be clear, the reason why Game Pass is what it is, and it's clear to see because when you compare it to PlayStation Plus, it becomes very, very clear is the fact that Microsoft backs their product. It's not they put their money where their mouth is. They're not saying, "Hey, subscribe to Game Pass to just get these games here and there." They're saying we're putting everything that we make into Game Pass, and we don't make one game a year or two games a year. We're putting in over 10 games from first party into Game Pass. That's a crazy number of games to get. And look, like you said, this month is not a holy shit, this massive, third party day and date game that is huge that we were all so pumped for, and now it's coming into Game Pass is happening. But that's happened countless times this year already, right? So like yes, PlayStation Plus, I would say you look at PlayStation Plus and you say, okay, what's it this month? Nothing. Another old game or another game that's been in Game Pass for years and now it's finally coming over here, right? It's like, whatever. And on Game Pass, man, like you I don't look at it like, oh, look at this batch of games that defines Game Pass. That makes no sense. Game Pass has crazy amounts of bangers at any given time. If you're not somebody who subscribes all the time and you just kind of casually subscribe every once in a while when something tickles your fancy, you go ahead, you play the game that tickles your fancy, and then you sit down and you play all these other things that are in there, right? There's so much choice. And I think that's the name of the game for Game Pass. That's the name of the game for Xbox. It's choice. Again, I I do not have a problem with anyone who subscribes to Game Pass and says Game Pass is my gaming. Meaning if it comes to Game Pass, I play it. If it doesn't come to Game Pass, I'm not spending a dollar out of that ecosystem. That's more than fine because Game Pass can allow that to happen. If you only had Game Pass and didn't spend another dime outside of it, your gaming habit will be fulfilled. Like you will be satiated, right? You will have so many games coming out in all different genres. Is not just the rinse repeat same games coming out that are like, oh wow, here's another Souls game, here's another. Nope. There's all different types of games that are coming and dropping into Game Pass all the time. Like Frostpunk 2, I believe it was on PC already on Game
Yes.
Pass. Now they're coming to
Mhm.
consoles. So this is actually a big deal because Frostpunk 2 is a pretty major game and is dropping into Game Pass for consoles now,
Right.
which is a big deal. I famously with Doodle, played Age of Mythology, and loved it, right? And then we played Our History Untold, and we loved it. And these were types of games that we never ever mess with. So I didn't hop into it on PC, but I might hop into it on the console, see how that game is, and see if it can hook us because that is a one of those types of games that are typically not my style. So I'm definitely intrigued, right? But that's what Game Pass allows, right? As much as you talk about the fact that there's no big huge game in this month, yes, but how many times have you played a game that was not big or huge but you got to experience it because it was in Game Pass and now you loved it, right? Like
Yeah.
that is the magic of Game Pass, right? It's not only giving you what you want, but it's giving you what you didn't know you needed, right? And that is an amazing service, and that's why you're right. It is baffling when people still sit around trying to disparage Game Pass like it's some welfare pass or some loser. Like fam, is Netflix welfare pass? Like what are you talking about? Like that makes no sense. There's content being made, these the content that's also sold everywhere. So it's out there to be purchased, and now you get it for free in Game Pass. And the thing that always gets me though, it's real funny because on one hand, these people try to tell you that Game Pass is crap and it's a waste of money and it's unnecessary, and nobody wants it and nobody uses it and nobody is happy with it. Developers hate it, yet somehow it's also the cause for every problem in the world. Like, if no one's on Game Pass, or if no one likes Game Pass, or no one uses Game Pass, how can it define the industry?
There
How
you go.
can it impact the industry in such a major way if no one cares about it? If it's trash, then people would think about it like they do PlayStation Plus and never fucking talk about it
Yeah,
and
it's
just
true.
let it go away. But Game Pass, like Xbox, is always in people's mouths. They're always out here talking about Game Pass. They're always talking about Xbox. The two things that are supposed to be the least relevant in gaming, right? The two things that are not supposed to matter, because who buys Xbox? Who plays on Xbox? I don't know. They're who does that? It's useless. Why is it here? Except they can't stop talking about it. That's everything they know about gaming now. That's the only thing that's exciting about gaming now. We're getting a new piece of hardware in less than a month.
Yeah.
I am so pumped. Xbox is already doing that. Next year, Xbox is bringing in next gen. We're going to get the next level of gaming coming, whether it's an OEM or it doesn't matter. They're moving forward with this, right? They're moving forward with Xbox pushing everything forward in the industry. And that's why I'm so pumped for everything that they have going on. They're crushing it with the games. Again, you talked about Keeper. This is a game that, for all intents and purposes, probably would never exist. Would never
I,
exist.
I agree. Well, I don't
And it's
think Double Fine would exist if it wasn't for the fact that they were picked up by
well,
Microsoft. And
that
I think Tim
that too.
Shaper have talked about that.
That too. And it's not because they're not great at what they do,
Yeah, they're
but it's
just a small
because
studio, bro.
they're a
That's
small studio, and the world of gaming right now is like, creative things are not necessarily appreciated by the paying consumer who's going to go buy a game. Okay, they are typically relying on bigger names, things that they know, things that they're excited for. Very few smaller creative type games are going to get, you know, that type of wow moment, and where they're going to just make a crap ton of money and blow up. Listen, as much as this game is so cool, right? And I'm sure it's gonna do well. That the one that's on the screen, yet another
mind you,
zombie survivor.
it's in preview. This is in preview, by the way.
It's in preview, right? Then you
Yeah.
have another one that you told me, Achilles or Aurelius or
Achilles
something like that.
Survivors, yeah, which is great
Achilles
because it has a
survivors.
building aspect to it. You know, it's a little different.
Yep. Right. So there's a whole bunch, right, that are out, right? I've seen even more that you've put on the screen, right? But
Greedland is the other crack cocaine right there.
Greenland. Okay, but now let's step back from that for a second and then look at everything. Have any of those things done what Vampire Survivors did?
No.
Right? No. Vampire Survivors was a movement. It was crazy, exploded for them. Like, it was the biggest thing ever. And when you do something like that, what do you get? A bunch of people who copy and try to make it better, which is cool. That's what gaming is. But all those people who are copying are not very likely to reach the same levels as a Vampire Survivor did, because that wasn't supposed to happen, right? No one in that marketing team who put that game out there and said, "All right, let's put it
Chronicle
here,
was
let's give it to."
bro, one
Nobody
man
thought that game was
army.
gonna be. No one thought that game was gonna be so crazy,
I don't think
but it
he
was.
thought the game
No,
was going to be
nobody thought that.
crazy.
Nobody thought that. That dude did not know his life was gonna change forever because he made that. It was 8-bit, 816-bit.
8-bit game, and you
Look,
know what's crazy? Dropped into Game Pass, and
yeah.
that's why I played it.
But this is what I'm saying. So, like,
Yeah.
that you're like, these other games now, like, that's not guaranteed. No one knows that. So for a game like Keeper to be coming out, and not only coming out, but again, aesthetically, look at that game. They didn't say, Tim, you want to make some weird, crazy shit, go ahead, but just give it the Ghost of Yote treatment. And it was like, yo, just keep it a little mild, okay? I don't want you going out there trying to make this thing look great. It's not gonna make us a lot of money. No, they made a stunning game, bro. If you look at our intro from when we go live, there's a clip I have in there from Keeper, and I put it in there because it's such a stunning, beautiful clip of when it's walking in a cave, with the water, just the way it reacts and reflects, and the beautiful colors and the light. It's so stunning. Xbox allowed that. Game Pass is what allows those things to happen.
Yeah,
Okay,
man.
this is what it is. Game Pass allows that because Xbox knows that in their mind, they're not stupid. They don't expect Keeper to go crazy. What they expect is for Keeper to be a game that somebody who has Game Pass says, "Oh, I will try that out. And maybe I'll like it. And maybe I'll go ahead and stay subscribed another month for it." And I mean, crap. In October, they're giving you Keeper, they're giving you Ninja Gaiden 4 and Outer Worlds 2 1 week apart. Each week, bam, bam, bam. 3 weeks in a row, you're getting another first party Xbox game into Game Pass. Crazy, bro.
Now, you
Crazy.
know what? I want to add some additional context to that because I have this. So I'm going to add this to the show notes by purexbox.com/guides. They have every game released for Xbox Game Pass in 2025. And the list is just ridiculous, right? But I kind of want to focus on, people, all people from everywhere in the world are always going to use value as a proposition for a conversation, right? And value as a consumer for you, well, that's going to differ for everybody, right? We're all different walks of life. Some people have money, some people don't. Some people, in the middle. That's just the way life is. And value proposition is and should be at the tip of spear for you as a consumer on what you think is worth your money. Whether that means, streaming Netflix or Hulu or Disney Plus or PlayStation Plus or Nintendo's online service, which is in its own way really good if you like classic stuff. And I always put myself on the seat here and say every like month or so I go back like a nerd and I play Wave Race 64. I play it with Tyler every time he stays over, and you know what? We just laugh. I love that game. I'm so bummed out that that's not a game that they're not bringing back because that was a launch title for the N64, and I freaking
remember.
love that game. Right?
One of the only games I had for a long time.
Yeah, because listen, let's not get into the $100 games for the 64 because I paid those prices. But what's interesting here is what C Money said. Now he talked about October, but let's just walk with me on this, folks. Let's just say your value proposition is what? Well, if you paid your $20, and there's nothing wrong with paying $20 a month for Game Pass. I haven't, but because I go and I look for a deal. They're not as viable as they once were, but there are legitimate legal places to go and get these things for a little bit cheaper. But let's just say, for instance, you paid $240 for the year and you got what you got already. But let's just say that you didn't get any of the things that like the Avoweds and the everything else that has released before, right? You're like, all right, just in the last 2 months of the year, the 4 games I'm going to announce pay for your subscription in full. Keeper being one, Ninja Gaiden 4, The Outer Worlds 2, and the granddaddy in November, Black Ops 7. Those 4 games pay for your subscription for the entire year. If you were to go out and buy those games from Best Buy, from GameStop, from Target, from Walmart, or your local yokel place, you're going to spend $240 plus. That $240 plus on those 4 games got you hundreds of games. And you know what that $240 does for me? Allow me as a retired guy, and I like I said, I'm transparent, folks. I put myself on the stand all the time. As great as my pension is, it has a ceiling, and the world is the world. And that extra $240 that I don't have to spend on just those 4 games, and I get everything in Game Pass, allows me to go out and buy a ton of Switch stuff. And that's the thing. And I'm not a dad, folks, but Tyler is like my son. So when I buy for me, I buy for him. And whatever I get, he gets. So I talked about it the other day. I'm not even going to tell you how much I spent on those goddamn amiibos, but I bought 2 of every one of them, and it was a lot. But you know what? I love that kid. He's an A student, nicest kid I know. He gets what I get. But I couldn't honestly do that if I was buying all of these Xbox games. If I had to actually spend 60 or 70 bucks on every Xbox game that came out this year alone, see money, there's no way I can afford all this stuff because I'm a retired guy. Like I said, I put myself on the stand all the time, and I don't have a problem doing that. And I think that really does.
Well, even if you weren't retired, man, it's
yes,
still
you're not
nobody's
wrong.
rich. You still only you only make so much, right? Like you still got to decide where you're going to spend your money. So it's like, go ahead, continue.
No. I mean, and it's a good point because you're absolutely right. Even if I was working, which I actually used to, and people make fun of me, but well, not people. When I was a cop, the guys at the job would make fun of me because I would do like ridiculous amounts of overtime, and we were only allowed about 40 hours per month. That was the limit for us, unless you did you arrested somebody and you got overtime that way. But volunteering for overtime, you can do up to 40 hours. I don't know what it is in the city. Folks have been retired a decade. It could be double that for all I know. But I used to work details. I used to do overnights, midnight stuff. I used to do a lot of plain clothes overnights. I used to work with auto crime. I would do, like when we were sitting on a car waiting for somebody to, when the car would be put out there to be stolen and we'd be sitting on it. I used to do that. That's all overtime. And people used to ask, like, what you doing the overtime for? I'm like, bro, look at this list of games. I gotta pay for all of these. And they used to make fun of me. They're like, look at this guy, Ravage. You're doing overtime to pay for video games. And that's when you get the comments. What do you play? Atari? Like, listen, I made it cool where in my precinct. Back in the days, I was panned by the old dinosaurs talking about video games. Now it's, if you don't play video games, you're weird. But so I mean, again, it's I used to do overtime, whatever I can get my hands on to pay for games. So obviously that was extra money, right? Look, I mean, I don't have to do that now. And like I said, I know this kind of went really off the trail, but it does come down to the simplicity of this is in fact the best service in gaming. It does not hurt developers. It does not hurt the industry. The industry is eating itself. There are so many games, there are so many developers, there are so many publishers, and everyone is trying to remove your money from your wallet in one way or another. And games get released. I mean, like I said, I talked about this last year, and we're going to get into the second topic in a second, see money, but last year, Steam released or had released into Steam 19,000 games. Think about that for a second, folks, right? 19,000 games in the biggest service in gaming known as Steam. How many of those thousands of games didn't even get a sale? Probably a lot of them, right? So it's hard to argue the value of Game Pass. And again, maybe this is not the coolest topic of the show. Maybe it's not the biggest topic of the week on your favorite podcast, but it is a conversation that I occasionally like to have. And I just think that this year alone, and really, I got to come back around to it. I do think that 2025 ultimately is going to levy one of the best years in the services history. I just think that there are so many games from first party and their second party deals that we didn't think that would get in there, like Fallen Feathers, for instance. Did you ever think that game, Wu Chang, would get into Xbox Game Pass? No, but it was in there, and that's one of many.
It is in there.
So again, it's just super interesting, and I love the fact that I find new experiences all the time, and I think that is what ultimately is the best thing about Xbox Game Pass, and especially smaller devs. They get a chance to get into Xbox Game Pass. And I said this a couple of weeks ago, when there's an Xbox Game Pass announcement, right? Like, it's a community event. We are all talking about it, whether it be in podcasts or in Discords or on social media. right, on X or Blue Sky or wherever you like to hang out, we're all talking about it. And that's what's freaking amazing because, again, smaller devs would have to pay, do you know how much? 10 grand to get on the front page of Sony's shopping page. 10 grand for a small studio. That's what if it cost them 10 grand to make the game? Are they gonna have 10 grand to get in front? No, they get into Game Pass, and because it's a community event, because everyone's talking about it, because it's every new release gets an Xbox Wire article or something. That's free advertisement, folks. You know, you get places like Pure Xbox that do articles on it. They give you the list of games coming in there. So it's a win for everybody. But you know what? Let me catch up on the super chats and gifted subs, and then we will get into the second half. This one is very interesting, and I think that we might be in for a big announcement from Xbox. So Dave Reezy in the chat. Salute to you, kind sir. He drops a very generous
salute.
And no salute.
No salute to
Well,
Dave
I mean,
Reezy.
what he says is pretty good. I mean, he dropped a very generous $2 super chat and says, reminder, or actually, I think he meant to say, remind C Money. C got discounts on all of his mustard and olives. Bro, that's good. At least you didn't pay full both for something you don't like. So there you go.
Never. I still get annoyed the fact that mustard has made its way into my house.
I'm going to tell you this. You're about to take a victory lap on my account. So after the last incident where I found the taste of black olives to be a bit sour, I no longer add it to my salads. So you win.
You see? Proof is in the pudding, bro.
He is won.
This is the way it works. It's disgusting. Okay, nobody wants that crap. All right, no one wants it. Proof.
So in my grilled chicken salads that I have a couple of times a week, I have removed the olive situation. They put too many olives in there, and it took over the taste of the salad. It was too many olives for me to handle. So
and
I
if
just
it
want to
takes
give you
over
your flowers,
the taste
sir.
of the salad, and you hate the taste that took over, then you hate olives. That's the way it works. I don't make the rules. Good job, Boom. Good job.
Listen, I wanted to give you your flowers live on the air, so you can't say that I've never given you flowers. So there you go. Rain G4, what's up, brother? Great to see you here. He drops. Salute to you, kind sir. A very generous $2 super chat. And he says, question: is the ROG Ally Xbox an Xbox handheld?
Yes.
You know, it is. And I will stand on my square. I will burn and die on this square. And I'm going to tell you why. Is it an OEM device? Is it a partnered device? It is. It has been made by the hardware manufacturer of ASUS. But in conjunction of that hardware manufacturer, it is a partner device, meaning that half of that device's creation comes the way of Xbox. And they did that software aspect of it. They made the software work the way it's supposed to work, meaning the console-like experience on your handheld. Now, is it a Microsoft device? It is not. And next year's OEM device will be an Xbox, but it will be an OEM device Xbox that is partnered with, which I believe is going to be ASUS. So if anyone asks, say, what are you playing? What is that handheld in your hand? My God, I'm amazed. This is the Xbox handheld, and this is what it's called. And I know there are going to be people.
Xbox Ally X.
Yeah, I mean, it has an Xbox button, right? Literally a Xbox button on the thing. It literally has the word Xbox in its namesake. So again, look, tomatoes, potatoes, whatever you want to say is just the way it is. I consider it to be an Xbox device.
Listen, when you go and you buy, if you're somebody who does the controllers for the phones, right? They release different controllers, right?
Like the backbone,
things
for
that
instance.
you can get, like the backbone and stuff. But the backbone has a regular one. It has an Xbox one.
Yep, sure does.
It has a PlayStation one, right? It has different ones, but when you buy the Xbox One, you are getting the Xbox version of it. Yes, that is an Xbox little device, right? It's focused on the Xbox version. That's the intake that they had with them. They spoke with them and they went and did that. Anything that you get, that you buy, that works with your device or is for your device, that is partnered with Xbox, that's the Xbox version of it. The ROG Ally is the ROG Ally. The Xbox Ally is the Xbox Ally. First of all, they don't even look the same, right? Like, let's be clear. Like, I
No,
don't know
they are
why
two.
people,
They are two
they're different
massively different
handhelds.
devices. Yes.
Just because the software suite you would think is similar, it's actually not, right? Microsoft is going ahead and they created a new version of this to make it run better on a handheld. Yes, is going to go back and work on other Windows devices, but that's because Microsoft owns Windows.
Yeah.
Do we not comprehend? Microsoft owns Windows. Okay, so all those handheld devices that are sold out there that run Windows, Microsoft made their money from each one of them, right? Because there's licensing fees for using the Windows uh, software. So understand that Microsoft got theirs when all these other ones existed, but this one, this is Xbox branded. This is an Xbox handle. The Xbox is actively working with them to develop it, not a hey, go make another handheld and slap an Xbox button on there and let's just call it ours. No, they were working on the software for it to make it run well. They worked on the design of it, literally showed videos of them sitting there trying to figure out the best shape for it, getting an Xbox controller, putting in the hand, making sure it feels the same. Like, this is an Xbox engineered device. And then Asus, ROG happens to be the one who is building it, right? But again, it's the same thing. ROG is the manufacturer of it. That's what they're doing. They're building it. Okay. But outside of that, come on, man. Like, it's an Xbox device. The people out there who are trying to say, oh, well, it doesn't it's not a Xbox console. No, it's an Xbox handheld. It's Xbox handheld. It's not an Xbox, the console that sits under your box. So it doesn't play those versions of the games. It plays the Windows versions of those games. And as much as they try to tell you, hey, it doesn't play your Xbox original games, so it's not an Xbox. Okay, cool. So without a subscription to their premium tier, you're now telling me that a PlayStation 5 is not a PlayStation because it doesn't play the original PlayStation games. Is that what it is? Right? It doesn't work. It doesn't play PlayStation 3 games that came before it. So PlayStation 5 could not possibly be a PlayStation, right? It doesn't play those games, right? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Every piece of hardware can have its limits as to what is playable. You know what will be playable when you go ahead and get a new ROG Ally? Uh, Anything they release in first party from
Yep.
Xbox going forward will be there.
Yes.
You know what else will be available that is not capable of being available on your Xbox right now? Steam,
Yeah.
Epic Game Store,
Good old
EA,
games.
Ubisoft,
Yeah.
GOG, all of these launchers, all these places you have your games, now they're there. Now, again, I could appreciate the people who want to slander Xbox because they find that's something that they want to do to feel better about themselves. But as a consumer, what are you getting when you buy that handheld? You're getting everything you could ever desire. Every game
Including
available to you,
PlayStation games, by the way.
including PlayStation games. Literally every game available to you. Yes, can you play those Xbox games from your Xbox account? No, but can you go buy the PC version of a lot of those games that exist? Yes. On Steam, on any other platform that you want. There's so many ways to game now with this handheld. It's a phenomenal device and very excited to get it. I know
Day
that
one
the
for me,
pricing
brother. It's not
oh,
even a
for sure,
question. Yeah.
for sure. The pricing might have leaked, but we don't know 100%. But I mean, regardless, I'm getting X because that's just
I'm getting the
Damn right.
X, and I'm going to do what I said I was going to do live on the air. I'm going to put it on my Best Buy card, get a bunch of points, get a bunch of gift certificates, which is what they do when you spend money, and
Yep.
pay it off $100 at a time. So it's not killing me in the wallet. Because again, nobody look. I don't have just $900. Let's throw it away. I we're saving for our first home, folks. So we ain't about that life. But that's why you keep a zero balance on my Best Buy card for situations like this. And I love Best Buy. I buy a lot of stuff from there. You get a lot of gift certificates, a lot of points when you spend money at Best Buy. And well, that was my plan from inception. Whether it be the $549 one or the $900 one. And after speaking to a couple of people behind the scenes that's actually got their hands on it, I have been convinced that yes, the 549 is really good. If that's what you want, if you're only going to use it for the handheld, I'm going to do a little bit more with it, and I'm getting a $900 big boy. But one other gifted sub here comes the way of our generous friend from Hawaii. Salute to you, kind sir. Thank you, Nino Vestic, all the way from Hawaii. Aloha to you and the family. Hopefully the weather is gorgeous. He has gifted, ladies and gentlemen, one Double Barrel Gaming membership. Please, if you did get the membership from Nino, please thank him in the chat. And we also have a generous friend of the channel, Jay Slay, in the chat, drops a very generous $5 super chat. Goes on to say, Silk Song overshadowed this game, but Adventure of Samara is an amazing Metroidvania. You should try it. Oh, dude, I am going to try that for sure. Also, vote Shinobi for Game of the Year. Bro, you know what's also getting crazy good reviews? It's sitting, I think, at an 83, which, I think that's a good score. Sonic Racing Crossworlds is getting really good. I mean, go play the demo, folks.
That game's going to be fire.
Oh my god! I got recorded footage of it from the demo. I'm going to record footage of the actual game. That game is amazing. And I'm going to be honest with you. As a Nintendo guy, get ready, folks. I think it's better than Mario Kart. Don't tell anybody I said that, okay? But that's my thoughts on it.
The old ones were better than Mario Kart too. Sonic Racing,
those were dope. It was
the first one they did, and then
you know why they were really good? There were two reasons. There were two of those games. One of which is you can play. One is not backwards compatible, which is a little annoying. That's the one with Banjo-Kazooie on the cover. I have it right here. I have it like in a plastic case. It's brand new. I found it sealed for like $10, and I bought it and I sealed it. Of course I'm a Banjo-Kazooie nut, but Banjo-Kazooie is in Sonic Racing. I hope that happens for the Xbox version. We will certainly see. But hey,
have tons of people in this new one,
dude. Yes, they do. Yes, I hope they have boards to match. Like if Shinobi's in there, they had Shinobi boards in the last one. I hope they have Shinobi boards here. That was dope. The Broke Boy in the chat, who's been a channel member for over a year, 14 months. Salute to you, Will. Thanks so much for being here, brother. He says, love watching PlayStation fanboys say Xbox is competing with Steam and will lose to them. They aren't to me. Xbox is working to be a PC gaming hub with all stores. You know what I will say?
It's a gaming hub, bro. It's a gaming hub. PC anything. They just want to be everywhere.
Let me just say this. I'm not going to tell you who to sub to, who to listen to. I'm not about that life. Listen to whoever you want. But if you see people trying to now change and move the goalpost again and say it's not, they're trying to battle Steam, unsub those people, man. Honestly, now they're just straight up lying. Xbox is trying to be the everything brand. Everywhere you have a screen, if you have an Xbox game, you can play it. That's what they're ultimately trying to do. What's wrong with choice? How did choice become a problem for some people? It's just narrative-based conversation. That's right.
Because they don't have the choice there.
Yeah.
So because they don't have the choice where they are and they don't want to leave, even though they always have a choice because they can go and buy these things, but they don't want to. So they want to stay there. And because they want to stay there, they want to stay in that little bubble of theirs. They're mad that choice exists for us. And it's like, fam, I'm sorry, but that's a personal choice, man. You don't have to be tied to them. You can go buy an Xbox or a PC or go explore, man. Get out of that little bubble.
Yeah.
All right.
Indeed.
It's not a good one. Not a good bubble.
Well, listen, I want to move on to the next topic. See, money. This one is very interesting. Now, obviously, we're going to get into the ideology of Xbox or Microsoft's next acquisition. Now, this is a conversation I think I'm going to move to either tomorrow's show as well, because we're going to have a pretty big panel, and I want to get everyone's opinion on this. And look, the one thing that we can say about Xbox is they are still looking to acquire more things. You know why that is? Because they're making money here, there, and everywhere, and they want to continue to make more money. Again, we talked about it at the beginning of the week, the top 20 list of the last 30 years of PlayStation, the top 20 most paid for games.
Mhm.
Almost over half of those games were Call of Duty. And I think that in itself could end and start, or start and end, any conversation as to why Microsoft wanted to get Activision, because they know how
Yes.
much money they make from PlayStation, and it's the numbers are there, folks. And Hargeet, after the ABK deal was finalized, not announced or not through the courts, but actually finalized that they won in court, he believed that their next acquisition may not be gaming focused, may not be gaming related. And I thought about that for a second. And at first, I had some pushback for it. I'm like, I don't know so much about that, 2K. And I mean, the 2K on paper sounds great, but I mean, look, the same way that they own Call of Duty, if they own Grand Theft Auto and Grand Theft Auto was in their service every year, that'd be hard to argue that you wouldn't be subscribed to it. But it would still sell a gazillion copies on PlayStation and Steam, right? It's going to sell wherever it is. But then for the last couple of years, we've been hearing the shakeup at WB. Now, WB has look, they own DC, right? They see money. They own all of DC, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, you name it. Just you keep going down the list. Superman, the film, came out and did some gangbuster numbers. James Gunn is someone that was with Marvel for a long time and now is head of what they're doing over at DC in the film aspect of it. They have a pretty sizable, grasp in gaming. Now, granted, they haven't had a lot of really big hits recently, but they own Harry Potter, right? They own the IP for that. The Harry Potter game came out, gangbuster numbers. There is,
Yes.
and they're working on a new Batman game. Hopefully, it is going to be in the line of the Arkham games, which is what everyone wants. Mortal Kombat, obviously, NetherRealm Studios. They have a film coming out next year, probably a new game in tandem. It's Mortal Kombat. What could you say, folks? Now, there's not much going on in the gaming space, so I don't think that if Xbox let me leave Xbox out of this, Microsoft would be even interested in just for that. It wouldn't be. It would be for the film side of things. Now, granted, if you just look at what WB has put out in regards to non-superhero films this year, they have been hitting banger after banger after banger. Sinners was a big, big one for them. Obviously, they just put out the new horror movie with James Wan. That's blowing up on the spot. Most, I think it was one of their biggest horror movies of all time. In The Conjuring, I think it's The Conjuring's last one.
Mhm.
So why I decided to bring this into the conversation is because I was listening to one of my favorite YouTubers, and that is, of course, Josh from the Den of Nerds. And he brought up the topic because he thinks that a purchase from something like Netflix getting involved in this would be big, because obviously he's a big Schneider bro. He likes all the Schneider films, right? He's not a big fan of what Gunn has done. He enjoyed Superman, and I enjoyed Superman. But James Gunn has he tells his stories the way he wants to tell them. And if Netflix took over, maybe they give Zack Snyder another shot at the DCEU, right? Who knows? But I have a bunch of information I want to read that really is it's great context for what we're going to talk about, and why I think Microsoft could throw their name into the hat, because I got some names here, folks. So an analyst, ladies and gentlemen, told CNN that the potential offer from Paramount, and there's a rumor that Paramount was going to make a cash offer for WB Games and WB as its studios. And they're known as Warner Brothers Discovery, right? There's a rumor that they were going to give them a cash offer. Well, this analyst cautioned that any actual deal will be protracted and a very complicated affair. And here's why. According to the analyst, the only surprise is the timing. Bank of America Securities senior media and entertainment analyst Jessica Reif Ehrlich said, "It's obvious. The media industry needs to consolidate. If Paramount is making an actual bid for WBD, which of course again is Warner Brothers Discovery, they're not the only ones that are going to be bidding in our view," she added. Comcast, Amazon, and Netflix have been named as other potential bidders for all of WB. Now, what's interesting, and I want to get back to the show notes here, so let me just, because I'm on a different page. I have this another bunch of information. Now, this comes the way, ladies and gentlemen, of investing.com. Warner Brothers Discovery's streaming and studios, their unit could attract bidders once it splits from the company's network business in 2026, with Netflix the most compelling buyer, according to Wells Fargo. Now, this is where it gets interesting. According to a brokerage firm, we think Netflix is the most compelling buyer, and their investors would support a deal, according to Wells Fargo's listed according to Wells Fargo, but they also listed Amazon, Apple, Comcast, and Paramount's parent company Sky as potential landing spots. And I kind of want to just back off of what I have in front of me. See, this is where I think Xbox or Microsoft can get involved here, because I think they're the wild card. I've been saying for a while that I think they need, and I guess need is going to I guess it's going to vary on your personal opinion on whether Xbox needs its own hero games. Because I think superhero games have a place. I think having Mortal Kombat in your first party lineup is a big deal. I think having a new Arkham game announced to drop into your streaming service as Game Pass would be a big deal. I think the sequel to Hogwarts would be a monster-sized announcement for Xbox Game Pass. If in fact they pick them up. Now, obviously, Xbox would be interested in the gaming side. Why would Microsoft be interested in the film side? Well, because they want people that know what they're doing with IP. And look, they have deals with Amazon for Fallout. They have deals in place, and we're waiting for the script to be finished for Netflix for Gears of War. Netflix picked up the rights from Paramount for Halo, so I think that's going to be a thing over at Netflix. But they have a bunch of other IPs. But if you could somehow incorporate the DCU, which is what James Gunn is doing, and get Xbox involved in that would be massive. And I think that if James Gunn is a visionary, not a lot of people think like, and for instance, again, shout out to Josh from Den of Nerds. He has him and Gunn actually had a public thing. Like Gunn came for him, and it was like a really and thanks to Gunn's coming for him, his channel blew up, as that's usually what happens in drama. But he puts out great content. I listen to Josh every day. And I think that James Gunn is a visionary. And I think that if you could take that visionary and incorporate that into potentially some of your their Xbox franchises, it could be a match made in heaven. Again, this is maybe not the biggest topic of the show, but I think it's one that's worthy of a conversation. I'm going to bring you in, C-Money, get your thoughts on the potential of Microsoft. Because again, if you would have asked any of us in this chat, if Microsoft would have been the company bidding or the winning bidder for Activision Blizzard King, we'd have called you a lunatic. Nah, they're not going to buy Call of Duty. That's crazy. They wouldn't even sell it. And out of nowhere, they announced Bethesda, right? We were all blown away by that. I mean, we all had podcast after podcast. And then the Activision Blizzard thing, we were like, oh my God, this is insane. I can see a play for WB. What were your thoughts on this, C-Money?
Um, I don't know. My thoughts have changed on it. I used to really want them to buy WB because I love Batman. Um, so I wanted them to be able to make, some Batman games. Um, but with the way things are now, um, and the way that they're cooking. I mean, like they lost, like WB closed that studio that made the Lord of the Rings, the Shadow of Mordor, and all that stuff,
Yes.
right? Which was a great studio. Like the people who made Batman, Rocksteady, most of those people who worked on the games that we actually love from them
They're
are
gone.
now working with Xbox at
Yes.
100 Star. So like that team, Rocksteady ain't shit anymore.
They're a
It's
shell of their former self. There's no doubt about
yeah,
it. Kind of like
it's like getting
BioWare.
BioWare
Yep.
today. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's like it means nothing. You're not getting the BioWare that made all those bangers back in the day. So I just don't know if it matters to Microsoft that way. Yes, Harry Potter is huge. Um, but it's I mean, the only way I would see Microsoft getting involved is if they believe that if Sony got involved, they would make the games exclusive. You know what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
would be the only way I would see them getting involved, similar to what they did to like Bethesda with Starfield, right? Where they're like, all right, we're not gonna lose this game. If they thought that Sony was gonna make, if they bought them, that they would make, the next Harry Potter exclusive or something like that, then I would see them saying, all right, we got to get in there and be defensive. But honestly, if any other company buys WB, it's not really going to change anything for Microsoft's,
No,
relationship
I don't think it would hurt
with
Microsoft at all, as a matter of fact. No.
and honestly, for the amount of money that is going to cost them to make that purchase, um I don't know if Microsoft, because they have so many partners that they work with so well, like Netflix, they're making Gears, and
Yep.
you got these other, I think Netflix now is
Amazon
probably
with
gonna do the next
Fallout.
Halo,
Yeah.
Amazon with Fallout. It's like why do it, right? Um, so I think for them, the money would be way more valuable being spent on IP um that is big, stuff that is like a publisher that's gonna give you annual bangers, right? And then
That's 2K,
sprinkle around
bro.
the other stuff. Yeah, it's 2K. 2K is the one that I would say makes the most sense for them. Next, I think EA is just unrealistic, not because of um, not because of like a lack of ability to do it. I feel like EA is like a different, I don't know, different type of company. Um, they're so reliant on IP that's not theirs. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
They
Um,
do a lot of third party IP. Yep.
yeah, so it's like more like Star Wars and stuff like that, which is fine, but like that's already not exclusive anymore. So like anybody can get that IP to make a game. I feel like 2K is the one that gives you, consistent bangers, and you get to say, I own, it's like owning Minecraft if you own Grand Theft
Yeah.
Auto. You know what I'm saying? It's just like that game that forever sells. That game that's forever in circulation. That's what they're looking for. That's what they want. And then 2K does have their own IP that they make games with, like, Mafia is one of them. That would be nice to get every once in a while. You get one of these games, boom, day one in the Game Pass, right? So, I think that will be a way better use of their money than buying, Warner Brothers for what? Like Mortal Kombat, like that game's coming out everywhere no matter who buys it, right?
That's
So
true.
it's like, why own it? Doesn't matter. Um, and then like the movie stuff, DC is it's such a messed up situation because I actually prefer all of DC's movies that they've come out with lately, right? Like all of them. I love Blue Beetle, all that. I love them.
Blue Beetle
The
was dope. A lot of
Flash.
people didn't see that movie. Mrs. Boom and I really enjoyed that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. But like, I'm not like a comic book person, so I'm not offended by what he does with the movies because I don't care about the comic books. So I don't know if he did something different or if he made the character different than what he was in the comic, right? That doesn't mean anything to me. Um, but the world cares apparently, and DC movies just don't really, you know, hit in comparison, right? They do have the few standouts. The Joker was pretty big, but then they like killed it with this second one. The Batman, that the Robert Pattinson line of movies. Um, that first one was great. They're making another one, so that's probably going to be fantastic too. But it's like, what else? I just don't see Microsoft getting in bed with them this way. I don't see the benefit for them. I think it's just gonna create more headaches for them. Um, because again, we're at a certain level of quality right now, and I feel like they no one at the studios now that they have genuinely would want to work on any of those IP. You know what I'm saying? Like, Xbox has a lot of creative studios who want to work on their own stuff, right? And like, look at Double Fine, right? Like, Double Fine, they're not looking to do these remakes that everybody was hoping, or work on Banjo like people were saying, oh, maybe Double Fine can do it, right? They want to make their own shit. They want to be creative. They want to have that freedom. Microsoft gives them that freedom to buy some other IP that the studios who are working there now are not good enough to make exciting for today. um I don't know that makes sense to go ahead and invest in that. um Especially when you sent me something and I was reading, and like, for Netflix it makes way more sense
Of
for
course.
them
Yeah.
to, because they get the lot. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? They get the WB lot where they can film shit there. You know what I'm saying? So all of a sudden now they can have their Netflix movies filmed on this lot that they own, as opposed to, renting or leasing a place to film it, right? Or having to do everything on site somewhere. So I think honestly it would probably make the most sense for a Netflix to scoop them up. Even Sony, like, Sony wants anime. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
that's their bag. I don't know if they're involved with this Demon Slayer movie, but this Demon Slayer movie is crazy. It's
Bro.
killing it right now.
Yep.
I gotta tell you, Sony is doing some smart stuff when it comes to anime. They obviously they own all the channels that you could basically watch anime now. Um, but I think there is a lot of growth there. There's I famously, people know on my channel that I never cared for Demon Slayer, and then, but everybody else in my family does, and Doodle was pumped for the movie. So I said, all right, I'm gonna go. We went and watched it, and now I love it. And now I'm going back to watch the whole series. Like, I want to get back so I'm ready for the next movie. Um, so getting in early on anime, I think that was a smart move for them. I think PlayStation is already kind of showing that the growth is not there. Growth is not coming for them at this point. They're just in business to keep it more of the same, and their growth is going to come from outside of PlayStation, right? Putting their games on Xbox, putting their games on PC. That's why they dropped. That's why they dropped the way they're reporting the numbers, right? They're separating it out because they don't want their platform to see how bad it's doing, right? You don't want to put numbers on there that show that Helldivers outsold the PlayStation version. You know what I'm saying? Like, on Xbox, you don't want that, right? So that's that's why they're doing that. It's ridiculous. This PlayStation does not have anything that's exciting for Sony, and we've seen it across the board. They haven't invested in PlayStation in any meaningful way compared to what they've done with movies, TV, music, anime. They came out on stage and they said it, right? Their last big thing was like, anime is a huge growing point for them. That's where they were making these investments, and I think that's ultimately gonna pay off. I think anime is just gonna keep getting bigger and bigger. Um, and I think that's going to be PlayStation or Sony's way to kind of stay stay in a growth pattern. because anime is huge for them. So I don't think for them DC would make a difference. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think they care about that as much either. You know, they're already kind of in bed with Marvel. Um, so that maybe they might not even be able to buy DC because it might mess up their deal with Marvel
Could
and
be.
Spider-Man. Um, so yeah, I don't know. For me, it just doesn't seem likely or make much sense for me for Xbox to get involved
I
or
tell you one thing though, I
Microsoft.
would love for Xbox to or Microsoft to pick up NetherRealm. I really think having a Mortal Kombat, again, it's one of those. It's an IP that's so well known, and you have something like that to drop in the Game Pass. That's going to get people to subscribe, no doubt about that. But that would be that's a big draw in my opinion. But again, only time is going to tell. Again, not the biggest topic of the show, folks. But one I wanted to bring up because I think there is a lot of talk in the and I hey man, I really wish I had the time to have like a movie podcast. Like I wish there was there was a time in the day that I can do one where it didn't put too much pressure on me because I love talking the trades and I listen
The
to
problem is that it would start you all over because
yes.
all these people who show up here, they're not going to show up for
No,
movies.
they're not
There
gonna
a few
no.
of them, maybe the people who talk a lot, but like all the people who don't talk a lot, it's just what it is. It's so finicky to
Yep.
have these
No,
separate.
I have a lane. I'm staying in it. So it's video games for me. And well, again, this is just one of those situations where I don't think you're going to hear anything for the remainder of the year with Microsoft, but I do think that there is going to be a time next year where they're going to make their next move. And we all agree that 2K is the play. Personally, I know a lot of people keep saying Sega. I know Everborn wants Sega. I think Sega would be a big get for them, especially because they're a Japanese company, and I think that'd be a really big step in the right direction in Japan. But only time is going to tell. But listen, let's get these last two super chats. We get everyone out of here. Be nice in the chat. Drops a very
Nice.
generous $2 super chat. Be nice goes on to say, would like a South of Midnight movie and sequel. Yeah, me too, brother. I agree right there. I think a film would be amazing. I hope we do get a sequel because I love the original.
I mean,
Absolutely.
they definitely left it open, to get like the adventures of, South of Midnight type deal where Um, there's definitely places they can go, but if they also don't do another one,
It'd be
it's
fine
also
just the way it
not
was.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not needed either. So they kind of left it open, and I guess that they probably have that as a back burner pitch to Microsoft. I mean, we interviewed the studio head back when it came out, and he said like he already like knew what they were working on next. And he didn't tell us what, but um, you know, it could have been easily a part two, or I'm telling you, a lot of these companies, they're like these studios at Xbox. The reason why they end up making these like amazing experiences because they're very creative and
Yep.
they're not necessarily looking to be like, okay, we made this, let's just go make another one, unless it's going to be something substantial that they can really create a new lane for. um Also probably isn't uh, part of it might also be the fact that none of these studios necessarily create games that explode with you know the dollars, right? Like these
Yeah.
are all kind of niche games, South of Midnight, smaller experience, amazing experience, but smaller experience, right? Same thing with like Hellblade and stuff like that. So, um, there's there's a lot that could be done if they wanted to, but if they didn't, I would get it. South of Midnight movie would be fire though, because that would be real well done. Like just telling that first story, you know, in movie form would be phenomenal.
Yeah. I could see it because they could really go in on the haints and like
Mhm.
really make it like a horror movie.
Yeah,
They
they can lean into the horror. Like Sinners, it's funny because Sinners kind of came out and it was like, oh snap, the Haints are in there. It's like, oh wow. Like, I mean, well, the name was in there, right? They talked
right.
about him and it immediately brought me back to South of Midnight. I was like,
Me
oh
too.
snap, that would be crazy. So yeah, I definitely think if they went that route, that would be insane for sure.
Well, listen,
By
we're
the way,
gonna
speaking of them, Olivia, the composer, of South of Midnight. He's actually the composer for Dying Light, the Beast.
Oh snap! I did not know that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna check out your review on it because I'm interested. I might. Again, I'm playing so many games. Jesus, I don't even have time. It's that looks dope. That looks really good. But I don't know if I have enough time for more games on my plate. It's ridiculous. But Will the broke boy in the chat drops not one but $2 super chats. First one, he says a few hours ago, Xbox YouTube posted a deep dive for Keeper. Yeah, we actually mentioned that in the beginning. Will I watched it? It's phenomenal. It got me really excited. I mean, I was already excited for anything that Tim Schafer is going to put up because I love Double Fine and I love how weird their games are. They're just not standardized games. They tell stories. They're weird. They're different. Usually visually stunning, and their music is incredible. And the atmosphere. Well, this game has all three of those in spades. So yes, I'm very much looking forward for the Keeper. I'm gonna go find the video and throw it into the show notes so you guys and gals can check it out yourself. He drops in another additional $2 super chat and says, "I'll say it again. Microsoft buy WB, reopen Monolith Studios." And make a new Fear. Yeah. Oh my God, man. Yes, Fear is what a great series, man. And it's a shame that it's gone.
Yeah, I mean, it's been. I mean, to be fair, man, it's been gone for a long time, right?
It
Like
has
there
been
hasn't
gone
been
for a
a
long
new
time.
Fear
That's why I
game in
think
a
it could
long
come back in a
time.
big way because we need that. I mean, bro, the world would be a better place with a new Fear. That's just my hot take on it. But you know what? Let's sell the
Monolith was
brand.
really good, man. Monolith was really good. They should
They
have
were
bought
really
those.
good. Didn't they do oh my
They
God,
did the
what
Shadow of Mordor and the
yes.
other one. They're really, really good. It's just, whatever the problem is who they're with, right? WB obviously was doing this whole like live service pivot, right? Like this is what's happening. It killed all these single player studios because you're trying to force these single player studios to make these multiplayer games. Well, all of a sudden you're taking a studio that was amazing and now saying, well, you got to make something that you never made before, and then you're hiring new people to do the multiplayer stuff, and then you get nothing for it, man. So they're a victim of being with WB, because they would have rocked if Xbox owned them.
Yeah, well, there are two games that Monolith also made Criminal Origins, which were
Yes,
freaking
Condemned.
amazing. I go back to the original every couple of years and play it, and
Nice.
I still to this day get freaked out by the when you're in the department store and the mannequins, bro. That's like, yeah, that if you don't know what I'm talking about, folks, you need to go play
They
Criminal
started the
Origins.
fear. They
Yeah, yeah,
started the fear
yes.
of mannequins. I don't know if you remember, but Black Ops 6 reignited the fear of mannequins big time
Yes,
in
yes.
that crazy ass story mode. So
Yeah. So
Monolith
mannequins,
were dope.
terrifying. Yep.
Yeah, they
So
were dope.
well, a big thank you to all of the super chats, channel member chats, and gifted subs. Mrs. Boom and I do greatly appreciate it. Hopefully, you enjoyed the podcast conversation enough to hit the like button, share it on the socials, ladies and gentlemen. Um, Obviously, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the new episode of Breakfast at Boom. We are going to be getting into more finite detail, and pun intended, for Keeper. We're going to talk about that in more depth tomorrow. I'm going to be maybe even use some of the video for some of that commentary. I'm sort of, I watched it once. I want to watch it again because I do love that studio and that game looks phenomenal. But see, money. Let's sell the brand of On Point for gamers. And obviously, you're doing a bunch of new things, to obviously, re-spark the interest, of course, in your podcast with you and Doodle each and every week. Talk about it, brother. Tell the fine folks in the chat here what you're doing, when you're doing it, and where they can subscribe, and more importantly, follow you guys on social media.
Yeah, man. Well, obviously, first of all, thank you, my brother, for being, having me on the show. I love
Thank you,
doing the
sir.
show. Thursdays, 12 p.m. Xbox Live. See me here. And then our channel On Point for Gamers. We've been rocking and rolling. We did make a change that I think Boom is alluding to, is that we used to have all of our shows at night So Tuesday, Thursday, Friday nights, 8 p.m. But we have like a group of people that we were kind of not being able to see too much because they were always at night. So we did make a change and we went ahead and swapped our Thursday night show for a Wednesday morning show. Or mid, early afternoon. It's gonna be at 11 o'clock. It's just we happen to start it in a time where we have some unexpected stuff that has come up, so we haven't been able to consistently do the Wednesday show. But we will. It will, get to that point. So that's 11 a.m. on Wednesdays. But we didn't get rid of Thursday slot. We do have a Thursday slot, and what it is more it's a gameplay slot now. We have a show called We Doing It Live. And basically we're gonna play some games live, hang out with the community. So we do we break it up. So single player game, the first couple hours, and then like starting around 10 o'clock, we switch it to like a multiplayer kind of open scenario. If we got members of the community that kind of want to go play, we'll play some, whatever. We played Call of Duty last week. The week before that, we play Helldivers too. So we'll see what we play tonight. We'll firm that up in a little while. But yeah, so that's what we're doing on Thursday nights now. And then couldn't say it before, but I'm gonna play Dying Light the Beast tonight as
Very
the
nice.
single player game. So that's gonna be cool. So definitely come check that out. And then we still have our Friday night shows, 8 p.m. So Tuesday nights and Friday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. Got Night Quest. You got the night shift. Night shift is on Friday nights with our boy Hargeet and Demo, which is always a good time. Um, so yeah, come check us out. Um, I did put the link in the chat.
Nice.
Um, and come check us out, man. Appreciate y'all.
Well, we appreciate you being a part of the show each and every Thursday. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time to check out today's show. And again, folks, I think everyone in content creations is struggling a little bit because there has not been a lot of news. So sometimes you got to get inventive. You got to go back and find older stories. But if you tune in, I can guarantee you can have fun in the conversation, no matter which podcast you tune in for. And of course, a big thank you once again to all the super chats, channel member chats, and gifted subs. Mrs. Boom and I do really and truly appreciate all of the fiscal help that comes the way of these generous gifts that you guys and gals give us each and every day. And of course, it does allow for us to do the big giveaways, and we do have a big one happening next Friday on That Breakfast with Boom. It's going to be the Boom's Birthday Bash, the 7th annual Boom's Birthday Bash, because my birthday is the
Nice.
25th. When of course Sega is celebrating my day by releasing Sonic. How nice of Sega to do that for me. And I'm very much excited for that. I'm going to be 55, folks. Double nickels this year.
Yeah,
And of
congrats,
course,
man.
yeah,
Happy early birthday, brother.
thank you, kind sir. Appreciate it very much. Yep, next Thursday. And next week is going to be a big week for gaming. Tokyo Game Show happening on my birthday on the 25th as well. There's
Are you
going to
gonna wake up
be
at 6 a.m. to watch
well, I
it?
wake up at 6 every day of the week, except for Saturdays
Oh,
and
well then.
Sundays. Yeah, so
So
I'm going
then
to be
you're good
up.
to go.
Mrs. Boom's got to get ready to go to work, so I take her to work. We're up at 6. I go from her, dropping her off to the gym, come home clean, do the shows, do everything I got to do. But yeah, so I'll be covering the Tokyo Game Show. I'm actually going to cover it. I don't know exactly who or when, but I believe Xbox is having their I think it's at 9 a.m.
No, it's
I'll
6 a.m.
no, oh, so it's 6 a.m. Well, I
Yeah,
don't know if I'm
it's
going to
6
cover that.
a.m.
That's too much. Yeah.
Eastern.
So I may
It's
do a
3
follow up show.
p.m.
Okay.
3 a.m. Pacific,
Oh, yeah. Wow.
but
Okay.
6 a.m. Eastern. That's why
Yeah.
I
So what I
asked if
wind
you're
up
gonna wake up
probably
6
doing
a.m.
is
for
doing
it.
I'll do a 9 o'clock show and just do like a recap probably because I'm not covering it at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm literally just getting up out of bed, so I'm not doing that. But yeah, I'll keep everybody up to date. But obviously as we get closer to next week, I'll keep you guys and gals, in the loop, so to speak. But folks, I'm going to close the show with something that's incredibly important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of X Vlog Live.